Hi, my name is Barry J. Neely, and I'm a film music composer. But as you know, or may not know, film music composition often has to do with composing, producing, and mixing. So you're kind of doing a bunch of jobs. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video today. And it's not even going to be my music. It's going to be a song I mixed for the artist Jessie Murph. This was a music video that was put out by MTV, and I work for Paramount a lot, and they made this show called Push, which is like a live music video recording. So all the instruments are live, and I get to mix it, and it's great. Sometimes it's only a backing track and vocals, and I just have to mix in the live vocals, but this time it's drum set, guitars, and vocals. So I'm gonna bring you through my whole session today. Now here it is. It's just drums. It has bass, you have a few guitar tracks, and then of course Jessie's vocals and some backup. Oh, one thing I should probably mention, I really can't play you the whole song. It's a completely different version from the actual single on her album, but it might sound similar enough where this will get silenced. But if you want to see the final product, I'll put the link in the description below. So here are the drums. Here's the bass. Okay, so it sounds plucked, kind of like a Fender P bass or something with a synth bass under it. So it's just a bass stem. The bass tracks have been combined together, so I have to work with that. Some guitars. Okay, that's a steel guitar. We got a electric guitar, and this is the guitar right here that's played on the backing track, probably on the album. They probably already recorded this in the studio. This is the live on set guitar. And this is Jessie's track. Because it's always fun for me, I'm gonna take you through the plugins and the various tools I use to mix this. Now, I will say this about plugins on any track. You don't have to use a million plugins. The reason I might have used a bunch of plugins on this is because I didn't have days or weeks to mix this. I had maybe a few hours, so I had to go fast. You don't have to use that many plugins. I just happened to on this because if I liked it, I moved on. Might as well start with the vocals.
I never watched love run away on fire in the night like a pack of wild horses.
Okay, so let's talk about the deficiencies of this track. It was recorded live, so therefore there's going to be some drum bleed. And there's some drum bleed here in the section that I could not get rid of. I couldn't even use an alt line. I just had no choice but to use this.
Like I never had my heart broken.
So you hear that snare drum coming through? Yeah, nothing I could do about that. I tried everything. I tried isotope, dialogue, isolate. I just tried a whole host of things and I couldn't do anything about it. So what are you gonna do? Okay, so let me go through the plugins first. I have a one band EQ up to 200. Okay, so another deficiency about this track, it's not a studio mic, it's probably a dynamic wireless mic. It's not a bad mic, but it's not ideal for what is essentially a studio mix track, though it's live. It's supposed to sound like a studio mix, that's what they want. So I have to do what I can to round out the sound of the harsh dynamic mic that they use to record this.
Like I never had my heart broken. Like I never saw.
Okay, so you got that. You got a de-esser.
Like I never saw a door closing.
So I would have tailored that a little bit better if I had the time to make sure it was only getting the sibilance, but let's just say it worked for the final track. And that's what's key about music mixing. It doesn't really matter what it sounds isolated. If it sounds good on the final step, then you've done your job.
Like I never saw a door closing. Like I never.
Just a general compressor to rein in the dynamics. The Puig, and it looks like I boosted the upper mids around 5K, so that could be something cool.
Like I never had my heart broken. Like I never had my heart broken.
So it definitely brings out her vocals a lot more. The 1176 or the CLA 76.
Like I never saw a door closing. Like I never watched love run away on fire.
It just controls dynamics, gives it a little bit more body. Then,
like I never had my heart broken.
I went pretty heavy on the Renaissance Vox here because similar to like an Air plugin, it adds this nice top end to it. So this isn't for compression, this is for adding that top end to it. And I'll try to exemplify that here.
Like I never had my heart broken. Like I never saw a door closing. Like I never watched love run away on fire.
It actually doesn't do too much here, but it does enough that I was noticing it cut through the mix. Pro-Q, okay.
Like I never had my heart broken.
That's to kind of tame in the harsh high end. I've got another Puig, and that brings down the high range. So I have a lot of plugins bringing up the high end and then bringing it down later. This is what I'm talking about with the stacked plugins. Maybe because the Renaissance Vox added that high end shimmer, but I wanted to tame some of those frequencies later on. And then this final Puig EQ boosted, oh, the really top end. So it goes attenuated, which means it lowers the frequency around 8K and then boosts the top end at 12K. Now let's go through some of the delays and reverbs that I used under voice. We have the Manny Moroccan delay by waves.
Like I never had my heart broken. Like I never saw a door closing.
Now, as you can see, it's a stereo delay, but I have the panning here centered a little bit more.
Like I never had.
I also think I have this, yes, I have this automated here, you can see. So here in her.
Like trying to make a river run upstream. Trying to make a mountain.
It's just a way to add more life to the vocals. But on the verses where there's not as much instrumentation going on, then I have it down lower a little bit.
Had my heart broken.
Maybe if this were a studio recording, I would have her double it or triple it, and that's how I'd add more body. But here I had the one vocal track, so I needed to work with what I got.
Like I never watched love run away on fire.
That's the backup track. And now, I wanted that to be brought down in the mix because this is more of a live performance, but I wanted to use it so you can hear it's actually pretty low. Let's see what they sound like together.
Door closing. Like I never watched love run away.
Okay, so that's the substitute for doubling is the delay, but also the backing track that was given to me. Let's see, I have this Seventh Heaven plate. Let's see what that sounds like.
Door closing. Like I never watched love run away on fire in the night like a back of wild.
Okay, so this plate reverb is also centered. You can kind of see it a little bit there. And that's because maybe I wanted to take away the harshness of the delay, so this kind of smooths out that delay. But then we have the big reverb to give a lot of life to this vocal track, and that is the Valhalla reverb. And I'll play you that reverb isolated.
Door closing. Like I never watched.
It's really cool. This Valhalla reverb is really nice. All these spatial plugins are definitely automated to raise during the chorus. Okay, here's all the vocals together.
Door closing. Like I never watched love run away on fire in the night like a back of wild horses.
Okay, so now I'm gonna play you this one section where I really automated the reverb.
Like I never watched love run away on fire in the night like a pack of wild horses. Like I never felt the tears.
I think it sounds pretty good. Okay, let's move on to the drums, because that's my second favorite. So here's the drum stem. I want to see what it has on there. It's just the extras track that I was given. Okay. Okay, so it sounds like it has some sound effects and some percussion. Let's omit that for now. So here's the drums and how they started. Pretty clean for a garage, whether it's a fake garage or a real garage. I don't actually know, but clearly I put a lot on this kick drum here. So let's see what I did. Okay, added, I added a major EQ to the top end. Okay, I clearly wanted that snap. Compressor. Limiter. Now, I'm not afraid to put a limiter on anything, especially drums. Oftentimes, when you put a limiter on it, especially percussion, those transients get smashed down and then the life of the instrument comes out a little bit more. Pro EQ. I wanted a little bit more mid-range and even more top end. Now that's the inside kick. They actually recorded the microphone on the outside of the kick too. So let's see what I did with that. It has a nice low end to it. Did I enhance that or what did I do? I killed the low end on it completely. Okay, so I know why I killed the low end on this, because I wanted this to be the snap of the drums. Even though I raised the highs on the inside kick drum, I guess I wanted even more of a snap from the outside. Here's what they sound like together. Okay, let's see what else I did on these drums. Let's go to the snare. Sounds like the snares themselves aren't really heard on this track, so let me see if the snares of the snare are on the other track. I really like how this was recorded. I have complete control. I've got the snare sound I can manipulate. I've got the drum sound I can manipulate. Here's what they sound like together. Oh, I didn't even show you the plugins on this, because that sounds pretty good as is, but I clearly did something to it. I've got one band to get rid of the low end on that snare. And that limiter is doing nothing. So I really liked the sound of this originally. I just got rid of some of the low end. That's probably to get rid of some of the bleed from the kick or something like that, or the toms possibly. Okay, so for this, I did a gate, meaning I only wanted the hit of the snare to come out, and maybe I wanted to kill the bleed of the kick drum into that snare mic. Got rid of the top end on that just a little bit, and I crushed it with a limiter, because that's my thing. And here's what the kick and the snare sound like together. I guess I just really like how these are recorded, and good job to the engineer, who I don't know who it is, because like I said, I got this at the very tail end and had a day to mix it. Good job, on-set engineer. Oh, let's add my favorite thing, which is snare drum reverb. What did I do for that? Seventh Heaven, which is a great reverb. I did another plate for that, and that is, let's see. I like that. I like that a lot. It's not too high in the mix, but it's there. Then we've got the toms. If you don't know what a gate does, and I explained it a little bit on the snare, and I'm going to show you back on the snare what it is. And the reason I'm explaining it to you is because I didn't use it on the toms, but I did another technique. So once the signal gets above this line, it's let through. But then there's a gate. I don't know what I'm pointing at here, but then there's a gate here, and it kills the signal once the signal level gets under a certain amount. Now, the thing is, I don't like gates. I never get them to work perfectly the way I want them to. So what I do for the toms is I edit the stuff that I don't want out of it. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff before that file that's just, and I just cut that out. And I did a little bit of EQing on these, not too much. What I do for, okay. I guess I put in some high end to give it some snap or something like that. Ooh, that sounds really good. And then the hi-hat has so much bleed from the other drums that I get rid of all the low end to take care of that. Okay, and then you have the overheads as well. So I just wanted the overhead drum mics to let the cymbals and the snare shine through and get rid of all the low end, because I really want that to only come from the kick drum mics and possibly the toms, the floor toms. And I have a little bit of, I think, it looks like it's the same reverb on the toms and the overheads. And what is it? It is a, okay. This is a reverb by IK Multimedia, and I used it a lot in the past, and I still tend to use it, and it's just a really simple one. Okay, so let's just hear the drum set all together. Let me take off all the plugins. And here's the drums with all the things that I did to it. It's just got a lot more life to it. It feels like more energetic. I'll just add on the percussion track too. Now with mixing, I actually usually start with the drums and then go to the bass. So let's see what I did to the bass. I added just a kind of a multi-band EQ so I could take care of probably some of the bass frequencies. Yeah, so that's reining in these bass frequencies here. What else do I got? EQ, reining in the bass frequencies again. And a little bit of a compressor. So it's not a ton. Here is the bass and how it mixes in. Okay, so let's go through the guitar tracks real quick. I have this steel guitar. Sounds like it has a reverb already on it. Gives it more life, I don't have to do anything. And I only have a little low-end killer on it and a teeny bit of compression. The guitar here. This is a clearly electric guitar. I don't really hear any bleed of a guitar on the drums, so that's my guess is it's probably an amp simulator. Okay, so on this guitar, what do I have? A low-end killer. I have said this before and I'll say this again. Music mixing is, okay, I've joked and said it's like 90% low-cut filters, but for me, it's like 50% low-cut filters, because what you're doing is bass management, and a lot of instruments don't actually have bass to them. This guitar doesn't have a ton of bass. I'm letting the bass, the actual bass, take over and fill that void. So for fun's sake, let's see how many of the bass frequencies I took away. And if I took out too much for it being isolated, it works in the mix, but maybe I took out a lot if we were ever to play this guitar isolated. Nope, I am confident in my decision. I didn't hear the bass frequencies really taken away until over 200 hertz. And so here I'm fine with cutting it at 153 hertz. Then a little bit of compressor. Okay, then. This is an already recorded backing track, so they've already done it in studio. I don't want to mess with it too much. I guess the backing track has electric guitar in it too, not just acoustic. So acoustic for the verses and a little bit of electric already in the backing tracks for the chorus. A little bit of compression, that's all I added. And the onset acoustic, the sound was okay. It was probably a DI of the acoustic on set. And I didn't want to get rid of it because that's kind of rude to get rid of what the guy played. But I probably mixed it in a little bit low. Kind of shaped the low end and put a little top end on it. So it's there, but it's not there a lot. Okay, so let's bring in all the backing tracks and just have fun with that. The kick drum is really coming through and I really like it. I also love that slide guitar, and I didn't do anything to that slide guitar, that's just the player. Let's go to the climax of the song and see what I did, because I think I did a few funky things there. Okay, did I do that to the snare or was that something else? Oh, I think it's... Okay, cool. That was really embellished by a sound effect, and that's really cool. That was already in the backing track, and that's awesome. Maybe I raised the reverb a little? Nope, nope. So that's a live guitar solo. He clearly has some delay on it already, so I'm not gonna mess with that. That sounds great. Okay, so this is gonna be the risky part that might get flagged and muted. I just wanna show you like how awesome this mix turned out to be, that I'm really excited about it.
never saw a door closing, like I never watched love run away on fire in the night, like a pack of wild horses, like I never felt the tears rolling, like I never sat ears open. I could find me some.
And I think the original mix of this song was more hip-hop oriented. I don't think it had live drums. I think it was a drum machine. But this sounds so cool. I'm so excited about this mix. Let's play that without vocals. Okay, so maybe you learned something, maybe you're inspired by something, maybe it gave you a few tips. I don't know. Hopefully it helped you out. Now, I usually don't do this, but I really like doing these videos and the film music composition breakdown videos. So if you could hit like and subscribe, it would help me out and maybe I can do a lot more. Again, my name is Barry J. Neely. I am Barry J. Neely on all socials, including Blue Sky. So I'll see you another time. I'm gonna take you out with an ultra country version of this song, just by taking out her vocals and the electric guitars. That's awesome.